Well, today we wanted to show you the rest of our theme gardens. And to start with, the blue garden, which was actually designed and planted by our OBGA ambassadors, is going to be a wonderful, peaceful garden because blue is a nice, peaceful color. Now we put this where our award-winning flower garden was last year because of the bridge. So this year we have a river of blue crossed by our bridge, and we think that'll be a nice touch. Now the basis of this garden is that everything in here has a blue bloom or it has blue foliage. Now we do actually have a few silver-leaved plants in here because it's a nice offset with the blue. And two of them that we have put in here are the lamb's ears and also the silver mound artemisia. And those will look nice contrasting with the blue blooms. Now another silver-leaved plant that actually does have a blue flower on it is our Russian sage. Now this is one that we had in here last year and it's overwintered quite well, and it is a very good perennial for Oklahoma. You can see right now it's got nice silver leaves, and later in the summer it'll start blooming for us very well. Another one of the perennials that has overwintered here is the sunny border blue Veronica, which right now we don't see the blue flowers, but it'll have a nice dark blue spike bloom on it later in the summer. Now some of the flowers in this garden have dark blue blooms, and some of them are just a nice pale blue, and the plumbago here has a very nice, almost sky blue color to it, and it really shows up well against our cocoa shell mulch. Now one of the flowers with a great blue bloom are the true geraniums. This is Johnson's blue geranium, and like I said, it really is in the geranium genus. Now this will get to be about 12 inches tall and spread about 24 inches around, so it's a nice kind of a mounding ground cover type of a plant. And you can see this pale blue, almost electric in the light today, color on the flowers. Well, it likes to be planted in a full sun area with well-drained soil. However, if you don't have full sun, it will tolerate just a little bit of shade. Now another plant that is just getting ready to bloom and is a wonderful plant for a blue garden is the midnight blue agapanthus. And as you can see, it is just about ready to start blooming and will look absolutely beautiful in a week. Now we have several other blue plants in this garden that we'll be showing you throughout the season, and these include blue pentas, blue days, Georgia blue veronica, lobelia, and Victoria salvia. So we'll be watching this garden as our blue color starts to develop. Well, another garden that we're just anxious to show you is our climbing and trailing garden. So let's go take a look at that. Well, when we last visited the climbing and trailing garden, Steve was actually busy building the structures for all the plants to go on, and now it is planted and it is looking spectacular already. Now one of the first climbing plants that we have here is the Mexican flame vine, and you can see it really stands out. This is a nice orange plant. It would have been good for our orange garden last year. However, it is a tropical, and a lot of the vines that we have in this garden are tropical vines. One that we're using again this year, one of our favorites out here, is the mandevilla, and you can see right now it's not looking too good. It's just gotten planted out and the weather's been a little bit cold, but as soon as it warms up, these will green up and start growing and be up over our trellis in no time. Now one of the plants that we're putting out here this year, which you've seen before, but you've seen the purple one, the purple passion flower, this is actually going to have a red flower on it. And again, it's a good one for the butterfly food, and so we'll be looking at that. And we also have a different color mandevilla. We have a yellow mandevilla here, and it's already got quite a bit of vine on it, and you can see it reaches the top already. It's been growing in the greenhouse. And so this will probably start to look very nice. Now one of the colorful flowers that we have is the bougainvillea, and it is actually, this one is variegated with a nice bright pink blossom on it and the variegated leaves. And again, these are tropical plants, but they're going to work very well for us here this summer because they do like the heat. Now this is a climbing and trailing garden, and you'll recall we showed you earlier at TLC the calibrachoa, the million bells, and this is the trailing blue, and you can see the nice blue flowers on it. So we're anxious to watch this as it goes ahead and trails on down. Now down here we have another one that is actually new, and this is a Lysomachia. And this is actually Outback Sunset. It's from Select. And you can see when you look at the leaves how it gets its name, because it has this nice yellow and green variegation, and this should fill in this entire area here. Now we're also using other plants that you've seen us use before, and those include the ornamental sweet potatoes and the purple wave petunias. We've actually planted a flower terrace full of purple wave petunias, so they should look absolutely lovely a little bit later in the summer. Well, another plant that we used last year that we were extremely pleased with is the firecracker vine. Now you'll recall it was actually trained on the lattice work beside the barn, and it filled that and then actually started to roll at the top because it didn't have any place to go. Well, this year we have it planted at the base of a 20-foot flower tower, and we're going to see if this can actually reach the top of the tower before the end of the summer. Well, we've got another theme garden to show you, and that's our children's garden. So let's go take a look at that. Well, as you'll recall, last year our children's garden was an alphabet garden, and we had plants beginning with each letter of the alphabet. Well, this year we're having a safari, and so what we have planted in our garden are plants with animal names, and one of those plants is the canary climber that we've got trained right here on our trellis. Well, one plant that we should always include is the lamb's ears, and we have that in our garden, and it's a good plant for a children's garden because of the color and also because of the feel of the leaf. Now here in the center we have planted cattails, and if you'll notice we've planted them in a tub or container, one so that we can keep them moister than the surrounding garden, and two so they won't get away from us because cattails can be quite invasive. We've also planted purple duck's-foot coleus, and we've put the lion's ears in our children's garden this year. Now back here we have crane's bill. We again have another geranium for us, and we've also planted a turtle head. Now this is kind of interesting because when you first start to brainstorm about plants with animal names, you can't come up with too many right away. However, after you start thinking about it, you can get more. And one we have here is the snake plant. Now another plant that goes by several names is the Johnny Jump Up, and a lot of people know it as a monkey face. And so we've got that, and right next to it we have one of the newer plants, the Taurinia, and it's also known as a monkey flower. Now over here we have white swan coneflower, which is related to the purple coneflower, except it will have a nice white blossom on it. And we also have a plant known as cat's whiskers here. Now we have a lot of cats in our garden. We also have cat mint, and we have some bunnies in our garden too. We have little bunny pennisetum right here, and hens and chicks. And these are actually fun for kids too, because we've got the hen and then all the little chicks, and these are fun for them to go ahead and take a little chick out and start that at home with them. We also have porcupine grass, which will actually get fairly tall and have a nice band on the leaf and have that porcupine look. And in the corner we've actually planted a butterfly bush, and we've surrounded it with pentas. Now even though pentas don't have an animal name, they are a wonderful butterfly attracting flower, and it is good to have butterflies in the children's garden because it's very interesting for them to watch and also learn about the life cycle of the butterfly. Now here in the center by our gazebo we have plants that again don't necessarily have animal names to them, but they are bright and colorful, and one of them is the straw flower. Now this is Blushing Beauty. It's another one that's new this year from Select, and it is a very good cut flower both for fresh and dried use. The flowers stand up very well to wind and rain, and they look very nice in arrangements. Well, these are just a few of the things that we've planted in our children's safari garden, and we'll come back and see what else we can find on safari later. Well, we're going to take a look at another one of our theme gardens, and that's the autumn garden. Now the idea behind the autumn garden is to have a nice show of color in the fall, and We've actually used a lot of ornamental grasses in this garden just for that purpose. The maiden grass will have a beautiful seed head on it, and even after frost, it will look very nice in the garden. Now, another one of the ornamental grasses that we've used is the purple fountain grass, which again will look very nice through the summer, the fall, and even after the frost. Now, one of the great fall blooming plants is the Mexican bush sage, and we have one planted right here that's actually blooming right now. But in your garden, it wouldn't bloom until fall. We've had this one growing in the greenhouse, and it will actually grow for quite a while and get tall. You can cut it back if it gets too leggy on you, and then along the latter part of the summer and the fall, you'll get the nice purple blossoms on it. One thing to think about is not to plant this too close to maybe an entrance or where you might be sitting, because bumblebees absolutely love this plant. Another great fall plant is the autumn joy sedum, which will have a very nice kind of a pinkish mauve seed head and flower on it in the fall, and the seed heads will persist even after frost on it. Now, one of the plants that's new that we're trying out, and we'll look forward to seeing what it does, is the Petrina. And right now it's a nice green color in the garden, and it's supposed to have a nice kind of a cloudy yellow bloom on it. So we'll look forward to seeing how that looks. Now, to have this garden looking nice right now, we've also interplanted with a lot of coleus, and the salvia work very well. And we've also used a lot of the gray Santolina and the golden moneywort to give it some color right now. Now, in our pots, we'll be switching out with mums later in the season. So this garden should be quite a showplace later in the fall.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.